Brought to you direct from Studio 3B at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, the American Hardwood Advisor is your source for trends, tips, and insights into how the building industry has evolved. Join me, Steve Stack, along with guest builders and industry leaders as we talk shop and go in depth on what it takes to be the best of the best. Dive into topics like architecture, industry trends, project plans, historical tools, tricks of the trade, and life's lessons from more than 6 decades of experience in the hardwood lumber business. Hey folks, Steve Stack, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, coming to you again with another American Hardwood Advisor. I'm joined today by my friend, Mr. Kevin Tarkovich, and we are in Linesville, Pennsylvania.
Once again, my home state.
Right?
Believe it or not.
Right.
Born and raised, but this is a beautiful area out here too.
Oh, it is. It really is. And we're sitting on a body of water or nearby, and a beautiful recreational area. Really a nice recreational hunting, fishing. It has a little bit of everything to offer, and you guys did a little digging and got some submissions to Renovation Hunters programming and the Outdoor Channel, and you came up with a good one.
You know, we get the submissions that come in, and the video submissions work out the best. I mean, that is the key feature. Pictures don't do it justice, and that's, you know, when Hal and I look over all of these submissions, there's not one that we just disregard. We look at the full submission, the pictures, the videos, the storylines.
Yep.
This one had pictures, videos, and a storyline that was so compelling. Basically, you shed a tear reading it, and it's not for what, you know, just how well written it was, but you understand what the family has been through, what they're dealing with, and you realize that we can really make an impact here.
Yeah, yes, we can, and you know, we met back in the first or second week in July up here, and did our little preview walkthrough. Met 3 of the family members, and we saw the possibilities. I'm thinking somewhere around a 30-40-year-old structure, and something we hadn't dove into before. But we don't have enough common sense to turn and walk away.
We don't like the cookie cutter. It'd be too easy. We have to mix it up.
So we went through the process like we have on numerous projects now, and we saw possibilities.
Yeah.
And you and I have our phone lines. It's like a direct dial, whether it's 7 in the morning or 7 in the evening. And I remember after we went back to our homes, you down in North Carolina, me over in Ohio, and we started having conversation, and we were struggling with, or you were struggling with, what am I going to do with this kitchen area? And I finally got the nerve to tell you, Kevin, just tear it out. And that was all you needed to hear. So these folks are winding up with this beautiful new kitchen, functional
kitchen. Exactly.
I mean, we're talking anywhere from 12 to 18 people sitting down for breakfast, lunch, dinners up here when the whole family gets together. And so it started in the kitchen.
Yeah. A little backstory on the family, you know, the Clear family, their father, Bobby, had been, family man, he and his wife, 2 daughters and a son, worked like crazy, 2 jobs actually, to be able to buy a cabin up here for the family to enjoy.
Yep.
And you think it's the picture perfect story. He did that. He retired. And 2 years later, he is stricken with ALS and passes away.
Yeah.
You know, you think about that and the impact, and you know, after talking with some of the neighbors, realized something that wasn't discussed. The neighbors said, well, they hadn't been up here much since then.
Yeah.
And this has been years ago, 10 years ago almost. And I know why, because you'd walk in and you'd see everything that reminded them of their father and what he did through his life to be able to contribute, to give to this family. And, you know, I don't know if it was guilt. I don't know if it was memories. I don't know what, but you feel all those emotions and none of them are wrong.
Not at all.
But you come in there and it's just like, this was grandpa's place, pop's place, the kids call him, you know, or dad's place or my husband's place. And they were very fun. What was great about meeting the family here, Jill and Rachel and their mother, and then how many, 4 or 5 kids?
Oh, there was kids running around. There was dogs running around.
Dogs. But they would get so emotional. They were so emotional over the fact that we were even here before we even said that we'd do it. But walking us through the cabin, and this is a double wide, so completely different from anything else we've ever tackled. Well, we got on that log cabin run in the houses, but we had 1,600 square feet of double wide, and it's not. There's features about it, like you said, 30, 40-year-old double wide. Today's are much nicer. But it's like everything you touch, you find, something you got to deal with in order to try to make it more user-friendly, I guess.
The fact that it's 1,600 square feet versus our Baldwin project, which was what,
392. 600 square feet of deck, 392 of house.
But you translate in my thinking and in your thinking on the construction renovation side of it, 1,600 square feet has a lot of doors and windows.
Yes, sir.
And I know that's how we think and how we approach it. And it's like, okay, is this too big of a bite for us?
Yeah.
And so we've got the kitchen going on. We opened up through your design, opened up the kitchen, kind of made it flow to the dining or vice versa. And we've got a beautiful character grade hickory dining room.
And that was one of the features. There's 15 people max, all family members. Yep. And like you said, hey, we need a big table in here.
Yeah.
And the only way to really accommodate it was to go ahead and move some walls around. But I'm so looking forward to seeing that I think it's going to end up an 84-inch table.
Yep, exactly.
And you have benches set up for the whole way around.
So we're changing that through moving some stuff around. You're increasing the sleeping accommodations, crazy like, and then in fact, you just was finishing up a little bit last night. The living room, the gathering room.
That's that, and this is all your fault because you pitched this, the character grade oak.
The antique oak collection.
Sent me the video. He sent Hal and Chris, and of course, you send anything to Hal, stuff like that. I'm stuck. I gotta. Where are we gonna use this? Where are we gonna do that? And we bounced it around how many times?
Yep.
But putting it in that living room and making that feel, we're on a lake area, family area. We want it to be a cabin, but we don't want it to be rustic. We don't want it to be lake. It's a family cabin. You have that stuff in there. You talk about durability on the walls. I mean, 8 grandkids, they can run a truck into the thing, and it's not gonna. It's only going to add to character.
Right.
But it looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's just a perfect setting for a cabin. They have a fireplace in there that they like to roast marshmallows when it's raining, we were told.
Yep.
So I look at all of that, that would be, honestly, I don't have a favorite room yet.
I bounced around. I told you this morning. I told you earlier this morning, you and I were in the kitchen. I caught up to you in the kitchen area. And I said, it might start at the street or the road, the tears flowing. But when they hit that front door and they look through now and see that kitchen, it's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be a mess. But then my mind switches to, the living room area, and I get excitement from that because it's drop dead gorgeous. It really is. That antique oak. The kitchen, you introduce the shiplap on the walls. You introduce the pine T&G on the ceiling to keep it nice and light and bright, and the dining room and that dining room table. And then Mom always had the front bedroom.
That was one of the things, Mom, the kids would fight over who gets the bedrooms, the two remaining, or one remaining
At
bedroom.
that point, yeah.
The kids were in the bunk room. There was one remaining bedroom and 2 sofas. So first come,
Right.
first serve.
Claim your spot.
Yeah, that's it.
But through your vision and your creativity, you said, "Hey, let's shift this up a little bit," and had that beautiful 4 Seasons room off the one end of the home, and you said, "Let's put Mom in here." So we went a little extra in there.
Yes, sir.
She's going to have the best of both worlds. She's got this beautiful, bright room by herself. Your thought process was, okay, Steve, let's cut a barn door adjacent to the master bath. Yes, it becomes a Jack and Jill bath, but she has access to her own bath area and access to a little porch off the back.
Yep.
And threw in a door from the living room. So when Mom's in her bedroom, everybody else has access to that same porch off the back.
Yes, sir.
So she's going to have the best of both.
And, with the vaulted ceiling in there, we use the product that we use in Tynesta.
That little 4-inch poplar resawn shiplap, yep.
Which looks phenomenal across there. It really is going to, like I said, I can't tell you which room. You walk in, the dining room's going to look awesome with this huge table.
Yeah.
You look at the kitchen, and you just want to run in there and look around. And your eyes are going to drift over here and catch the living room. And you want to jump in there, and then Mom's bedroom in the back. So I think the family will be sort of swirling around. Then we got some cool little features like the bunk room.
Yeah.
So I got triple bunks coming from Sweet Dreams.
Yep.
And we took the closet out and actually widened it. And that is their little indoor, outdoor area. So we put some T&G up there. We have some decorative wood, some pieces actually from, I don't know what build it was. I think I got some walnut in the trailer. We're going to do some little accent pieces in there to make it look a little rustic. But my son brought a coyote pelt and deer antlers and some traps. So the kids will have, this will be like their little outdoor area. And then I got some little glow in the dark stars throw up there, which I just have to laugh. You turn the lights off, they won't be expecting it. And at night, and all of a sudden, you'll see these little glowing things in the ceiling.
Like you're sleeping outside.
Like you're sleeping
outside.
Yep. But everything. Oh, the old master, too. Have you been in there since we put the batten strips up?
Yeah, I did pass through there this morning. And long and short of it, folks, we took what was a typical modular home, nice in its day, but it had been kissed with years, right? And I told somebody on the crew yesterday, I said, we're making it cabiniche, if that's a word, right?
Yep.
And it does. It feels like it fits the lot that this sits on, the property it sits on.
Yep.
The interior now fits the outside, and I know the family's going to love it. Thanks to Renovation Hunters and yourself, Kevin, and all of your other partners. I mean, everybody's been busy like ants on honey over here.
Well, and as we, the scope creep, I don't need scope creep, but it happens,
Right.
And of course, you've been so critical in being able to have us the materials and then even making an emergency run.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the convenience of the location.
Thanks to Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods for getting that stuff out here in addition to our pile. And it's slowly whittling away.
Yeah. We're getting there.
We had a mountain, not Hyannis mountain worth of trim, but We had a mountain for this little place.
Yeah. No, we're doing good. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yep.
So we're gonna cross the finish line, and it'll be good. And I look forward to a reveal with the family.
Oh, absolutely. And, lots of tissues.
Congratulations on another great project.
Thank you for being a partner. And,
yep, no doubt, buddy. Wouldn't miss it for the world.
Not a partner. I mean, it's more than a partner.
Oh yeah.
So,
well, I don't know how that happened, but it happened, and I'm glad it happened.
Birds of a feather, I guess. So,
ladies and gentlemen,
we love it.
Stay tuned. More great stuff coming from American Hardwood Advisor and Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. For all you folks listening, thanks for talking shop with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to stay up to date with the American Hardwood Advisor series, give us a like and subscribe. For more tips, projects, and inspiration, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or at BairdBrothers.com. Until next time,